Okay, good morning, everybody. Hope you're all well, happy, and healthy. Okay, I'm glad to be back here this morning to share the Dhamma with you. And this morning I shall share this topic, the precious gift of the Dhamma. Okay? So every Sunday, I see many regulars here. I think some of you don't miss the Dhamma talk. Making an effort to come. Actually, the moment you walk into this hall, you have already received the Dhamma. Just now you dedicate this place for practice, right? You already set your mind to practice the Dhamma. So your mind is wholesome, and you refrain from wrong speech and wrong actions. Okay? So you already received the Dhamma. Okay. So today I'm going to emphasize more on what the Dhamma is, okay? How blessed we are to be able to listen to the Dhamma every Sunday and also perform the puja. Okay? Now actually the Buddha is actually the advocate of education. Okay? The Buddha exists because he discovered the Four Noble Truths. And he wants everybody to understand what this Four Noble Truth is. Okay. But education is not about knowledge only. Okay. You can get knowledge nowadays in Google. Okay, you want anything, you just type in the word and then you get the knowledge that you want. Okay. Now education is more than knowledge. Okay. It also involves culture. Every human being has a culture. Okay, if you're in Malaysia, you have the Malaysian culture. You're China, you have Chinese culture. You're in the West, you have the Western culture. Okay, so every morning that when we come here to do our puja, okay, this is a Buddhist culture. You come here to recollect the Buddha, pay homage to the Buddha, recollect the virtues of the Triple Gem. You even share merits with the Devas. You make offerings to the Buddha, okay? You chant the blessings, and so on. Okay? So this is a Buddhist culture, okay? Which is maybe very foreign to many Buddhists. Because those of you who come here are few compared to the many other Buddhists out in the street. Some don't even know there's a puja here and there's a Dhamma talk every Sunday. So you're very blessed that you're able to come here and receive the Dhamma. The other thing about education is not only culture, it's also about ethics. Education without ethics can be dangerous. For the professionals, especially those in the legal profession or the architect or engineers or accountants, they also have code of ethics, right? I think only politicians don't have. So ethics are very important. Okay, so what the Buddha teach, the precepts are your ethics. So without precepts, people can do whatever they want. So that's why you send your children to the Dhamma school, right? To learn some ethics. Knowledge, not to learn knowledge. Knowledge they can learn in school. Knowledge like mathematics, science, all these they can learn in school. But you don't learn ethics in school. So education is about knowledge, culture, and also ethics. So the Buddha is trying to teach us how to be good people. Okay? And basically, all the Buddhas teach the same thing. Do good, avoid evil, and purify the mind. So the purification of the mind is something extra in Buddhism. Most religions will tell you, okay, do good, avoid evil. But the purification of the mind is missing in many religions. So we are very special. Okay, the Buddha says that the gift of the Dhamma excels all other gifts. In Dhammapada verse 354. Okay. So the best thing you can give to another person is actually the teachings of the Buddha. Even for our parents, most of our parents, maybe they pray to all those household deities and so on. Okay? And they don't know actually what the Buddha thought. So if you can actually bring the Dhamma to them, okay, that will be the highest gift you can give them. So the Buddha gave the analogy of you can carry your parents on the right shoulder for hundreds of years and the left shoulder for hundreds of years. You still can't repay their kindness. So the best way to repay them for their kindness is to teach them the Dhamma. But again, because it's not easy to teach old people, okay, they have their own set of thinking. So the best way is to teach them when they're young, to bring your children to the Dhamma school and encourage them to practice the Dhamma. Okay? But it is also the responsibility of the parents, okay, to teach the children the Dhamma. Because you only bring your children here once a week, 1.5 hours, whereas you spend more time with them at home. Okay. So the parents are the best teacher. That's why you come here and learn, so they can teach the children. Another verse in the Dhammapada, verse 182, the Buddha says, rare is birth as a human, hard is the life of mortals, hard is the hearing of the sublime truth, and rare is the appearance of the Buddha. Now, the Buddha appeared 2,600 years ago, okay? And the teachings have been brought down first through oral tradition, and then later it's only written down in 80 BC. Right? And today is very accessible. You can access the Dhamma through YouTube. Okay? There are many talks that has been recorded, and also there are many channels you can access. Okay, if you want to go to the original Pali translation of the suttas, you can also find it in the Access to Insight. Right? Now, I would say heart is hearing of sublime truth because not many places offer Dhamma teachings. Even if they offer, sometimes they are in a language that you may not understand. Okay? So in Malaysia, there are a lot of Chinese-speaking Buddhist centers. In fact, 90% of the centers are Chinese-speaking. Right? So for English-speaking people, they have to go to English-speaking centers. Right? And also, it's hard also because you also must have put in the effort to come. There are people who are staying around here, just walking distance to UBV, but yet they don't come. So it's not only availability, okay, of the teachings, but also the intention or the effort, okay, to come to the center to learn. Or some people say, oh, this topic I've heard before, I don't want to come. So they miss the opportunity. Okay. So you're very lucky because many of you know how to come here. And the important is people come to the Dhamma through different ways, through different Dhamma doors. Some of you are lucky, okay, your friends ask you to come. Some of them, they just browse through the website and they found Bandar Uttama Buddhist Society website and they turn up. Some of them, they see certain monks visiting our center, so they come. Okay? I remember when the last pilgrimage to India, where Babs organized, that was in the year 2000, just before the COVID. There was this couple, they are from Penang. So they wanted to go to India for a tour. not a pilgrimage, for a tour. They wanted to to visit India. So they browsed and they found Bob's website, and they registered for the pilgrimage. Okay, they are Buddhists, but then they don't know what is Buddhism. Okay. So they just joined us. Okay. They thought it's a commercial tour. So during the trip, we have some Dhamma sharing session in the evening, And after that, she went back to Penang. She followed some of the Ajahns teachings in the website or this, and now they are even committee members of a Buddhist organization. So we come to the Dhamma through different doors. I think most of you come here because of your children. Your children brings you to the Dhamma. You only bring them physically here, but because you want to enroll them in the Dhamma school, you have to attend the induction course. You have to attend the Buddhism course. And from there you start. Okay, start to take more interest in the Dhamma. So why do you come to the center? Okay, people come to the center for different reasons. I always see one person, a cyclist. I think without fear, almost every morning he will come to the Bodhi here, Buddha Chittiya Hall, pay respect to the Buddha, and then spend some time, and then he will go off. Right? So some people, they come here just to seek some peace and calmness, okay? Or they want to talk to the Buddha, okay? For whatever things. But you come here for certain reasons, okay? The best is, of course, to come here to be able to practice, to be able to receive the Dhamma. And the Sunday Puja. Okay, Sunday Puja, is it important to you? Okay, now to most Buddhists, Sunday Puja is not important, but to the Christians, their Mass is very important. The Sunday service. If you talk to a Christian, the Christian will tell you, hey, Sunday morning I'm not free because I have to go to church. If you talk to a Buddhist, if something interesting, then they'll join you. I can miss my Sunday service. But I would say Sunday service is very important, because it's, in the Sunday service, you actually place your devotion in the triple gem. Okay? So what do you do during Sunday service? Pay homage to the Buddha. Okay? When you pay homage to the Buddha, you recollect the virtues of the Buddha. Okay? The virtues of compassion, purity, and wisdom. Okay? You recollect the virtues, you renew your precepts. You remind yourself that you have the precepts to guide you. You also recollect the virtues of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and Sangha. Okay? And they are actually good qualities. It is part of the practice. You recollect the virtues of the Buddha. You remind yourself that you have this Buddha nature, that you can also become enlightened, just like the Buddha, okay? And be liberated from suffering. Okay? So the Buddha didn't teach, at least you remember what the Buddha teach. Then the Dhamma is something that you can practice at any time. When you're worried, when you have fear, what do? Come back to the virtues of the Buddha. Come back to the present. Okay? Well, later I'll go through the 6 virtues of the Buddha, the Dhamma. Then also you share merits with the Devas. Okay? So you share the merits with the Devas so that they can bless you as well. You share merits with your departed relatives. Then you invoke on the blessings of the Triple Gem. Okay? So all these are devotional practice. Devotional practice will actually increase your faith, or strengthen your faith. Okay? So if you constantly recollect the Buddha, the Dhamma, and Sangha, you will always recollect, practice the Dhamma according to what the Buddha has taught. So Sunday Puja is important to develop our devotion. So why do you send your children to Dhamma school? So that we can turn them into angels, right? So they can learn something, okay, that is different, okay, from what they learn in school, especially on ethics. So it's easier to train children because they have less preconceived ideas. Their mind is still not so full yet. In fact, it's harder to teach adults than children because adults have a lot of preconceived ideas. You tell them something because they have certain experience in the past, they say no, they won't agree with you. So you send your Dharma school, the children to your Dharma school early so that you can train them while they're young. And then also when you come here, you make spiritual friends. You have spiritual friends to guide you, okay? Those who know more about the Dhamma, they can share the Dhamma with you. Or those who have gone to certain places and meet certain good monks, they can introduce you to good monks, where to go for the teachings and so on. Okay? So spiritual friends are important. Okay? When you're down, they come and counsel you, they come and help you, okay? Especially those who are sick. Okay? We are not very good, the Buddhists are not very established in this, okay? The pastoral service. Okay? And people are sick, do we visit them, comfort them, and so on. Okay? Whereas the other religions, they are very good. Yeah? If something wrong with you, you don't come to the church for a few weeks, they'll go and see you. Sometimes you don't know who is missing. Okay, so spiritual friends are important. Okay, whatever it is, when we come here, even though we are new to Buddhism, there are people who are more advanced, in the path, okay? There are people who are walking in front of you, okay? But there are still people walking behind you. People who haven't come here before, okay? But always remember, there are always people walking beside you. So those beside you will actually walk along with you, encourage you, guide you, okay? And help you in your spiritual growth. So initially, even though the Buddha said the path is a lonely path, in the end you got to let go of a lot of things, but along the way you still need spiritual friends. Okay? Even the Buddha tell the monks, that spiritual friends are important. Okay? That's why he has a community of monks, so that even the monks, among the monks, they can help each other in their practice. So we come here, we have a community so that we can practice together. And some of the questions that sometimes arise in our mind, inquiring mind. Yesterday we have an induction course and a Buddhism course, and some of the questions asked was, what is the purpose of life, what's the meaning of life? Why are we born? Is there life after death? What is true happiness? How can I find true happiness? And how can I be liberated? Okay? All these are very tough questions to answer. Okay? But if you have the Dhamma, you'll find the answer. So in BAPS, we try to promote a Dhamma-inspired community. A family that prays together, stays together. So after coming here for so many years, listening to Dhamma, are you Dhamma-inspired? And what are the attributes of a Dhamma-inspired Buddhist? Okay, first, you must have faith in the Triple Gem. Energy to practice. Faith alone is not enough. Some people have prayed, they all come bye-bye and then go back. Then they don't listen to Dhamma talk. So you need energy or effort to practice. And also from listening to Dhamma, you develop certain level of wisdom. You have a right understanding of the Dhamma. And if to go further, you practice meditation. In meditation, you practice mindfulness and concentration, which will lead you to higher wisdom, okay, called insight. And if you want to go one step further, you can renounce and hopefully you'll be enlightened one day. Okay. So the wisdom that we talk about, there are few types of wisdom. One is the wisdom from listening to Dhamma. Just by listening to Dhamma, you can actually develop wisdom. One example is Venerable Sariputta. He only had to hear one verse from one of the disciples of the Buddha, and he attained to the first stage of sainthood. So, because of his previous life, okay, he has also had practiced a lot. So you may not be enlightened after listening to the Dhamma, but at least your understanding, okay, of the Dhamma is there. You know, when you talk about the Four Noble Truths of unsatisfactoriness, of suffering, okay, people will not know that they are suffering. Okay? But when they hear the Four Noble Truths, then they know there is such a thing as suffering. Right? Some people, they suffer, they don't know one. They don't know they are suffering, they still think they are happy, you know, they deny, okay? They're self-denial. The other wisdom that can arise is through thinking and reasoning. So after listening to the Dhamma, you contemplate on it, think about it, okay? See whether it's good for you, good for others. If it's good for you and not good for others, you don't accept it or don't practice it. If it's good for others and not good for you, also don't practice it. Okay? Whatever you practice must be good for yourself and good for others. Okay? That's a criteria for acceptance. And the third type of wisdom is a wisdom through practice of meditation, to train the mind in mindfulness and concentration. Okay? That is through bhavana or meditation. So you may not find anything when your mind is peaceful and calm, but when your mind is peaceful and calm, you can see things clearly. Your mind becomes more discerning. Okay? So in our daily life, we always look outwards, but in meditation, you look inwards. Okay? What is in the body and the mind. So there are different types of wisdom that you can attain. Okay, after talking so long, now I tell you how to listen to the Dhamma. Okay, there are different types of people. Okay, some people, they listen to the Dhamma like an upturned pot. You know, you put a pot upturned, you pour juice on it, it will never go into the pot. Okay. Some people, they can be sitting here, but their mind is wandering. They're thinking of what to do next. Okay, when am I going to have lunch? What food am I going to have lunch for lunch? Okay, where am I going in the evening? All this. So their mind is not here. So they are not receiving anything. Okay? The second type of people is like a leaking pot. You have holes at the bottom of the pot. So even though your pot is upright, but whatever you pour in will leak out. Some people, they can't remember. They can be sitting here for 1 hour, and then they only absorb maybe 10%. Okay? But better than nothing lah. Then there's people who are like a pot with poison. Okay? There's already poison in the pot. It's not leaking. But you put inside, they misinterpret it. Okay? They misinterpret the Dhamma because the mind is so defiled. Okay? You ask them to do dana, they will think that, oh, why should I do, whether the recipient is worthy of the dana or not. So they start thinking all sorts of things. Then the fourth one is the pot is upright and not leaking and does not have any poison inside. Your mind is pure. So whatever good juice that you pour into the pot is retained. That's the best way to listen to the Dhamma. So you must listen to the Dhamma mindfully and listen with your heart, not with your ears. That means the Dhamma must touch your heart. Okay? It must be something that you have experienced and you find that is true. Right? When the Buddha talked about old age, if you're young, you won't feel old age. But if you're old, then you can feel it. So not everybody will feel the same thing from the same message. People who are healthy, they don't know about sickness. Okay? And people who are ill, then when you talk about sickness, then they can understand. It touches them. Okay? They can relate to what sickness is, how much suffering it caused to them. So the Dhamma must touch the heart. Okay? When it touches the heart, you will remember it. Okay? Even though you walk out and after a few months, you still remember what you have heard. Because it has touched your heart. So listen mindfully, be present, and let the Dhamma touch your heart. Then the benefits of listening to the Dhamma, there are 5. You hear what you have not heard before. You clarify what you have heard before. So many of you are here every Sunday, and many of things you have heard before. Okay? But it doesn't matter. Okay? It reinforces your understanding. Yeah? Then it gets rid of your doubt. So the best way to get rid of your doubt is to ask questions. Okay? So that your doubts can be specifically addressed. It strengthens your views. You may think, everybody always think that they are good people. I'm a good person. I do everything for the benefit of others. But then there are views, there are certain views that are selfish that you may not even be aware of. Okay? So when you listen to Dhamma, the Buddha points out what are the wholesome and unwholesome things. Okay? So your mind, your view will be straightened. Okay? You have a lot of greed, then you know you have a lot of greed. If you have a lot of hatred, you know you have a lot of hatred. If you have a lot of delusion, you know you have a lot of delusion. Okay? Only when you know, then you can rectify it. And your mind becomes serene. So your mind becomes peaceful when you listen to Dhamma. Because in the Dhamma discourse, okay, we don't take sides, not like the politician. Right? When you listen to political talk, people will blame each other. And when you listen to this kind of thoughts, you tend to take sides. Who is right, who is wrong? So in the Dhamma talk, we talk about things that are good, how to practice goodness, and so on. So it makes your mind calm and peaceful. So just now I mentioned that to be Dhamma-inspired, you need to develop your faith first. Okay? So the first thing that you do is your puja. Okay? You come here to pay respect to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And you listen to Dhamma talk. That's where you study the Dhamma. Okay? And from here, you need energy, okay, or the effort to practice. Okay? If after listening today and then you go back, you forget about it, you don't practice, okay, you don't benefit from it. Okay? And from the practice, it leads to more confidence. Okay? Because when you practice, it gives you happiness. Okay? If it gives you happiness, then you realize, okay, that it is good. It is good for you. Okay? And from the realization, it will lead you to liberation. So always remember that our teacher, the Buddha, okay, has the qualities of purity, compassion, and wisdom. Okay? We receive all this from him because he has compassion. Okay? The Buddha can, after his enlightenment, decide to stay in one place and then live the rest of his life happily, okay, enjoying his nibbanic bliss. He don't have to go and teach people and go walk to many places throughout India and teach the Dhamma, right? But because of his compassion, he set up the order of monks, okay? And from there, he kept teaching them, okay, the Dhamma. And for your information, the Buddha only slept 1 hour a day. Right? Even at night, he teach to the Devas. The Devas will come and see him and request for the teachings. Okay? So the Buddha has a his compassion is incomparable. It's ocean-like. Yeah. So the Buddha is actually a Dhamma-inspired leader. Okay, he because of his compassion, he renounced. He left the palace. Okay, and find the cause of suffering. Okay? So if you want to be Dhamma-inspired, think about the Buddha. Okay, of how he has sacrificed his life and find the cause of suffering. So after the Buddha became enlightened, he preached to the 5 ascetics, and the 5 of them became enlightened and become arahants. And the next group of people he converted was Yasa and his 54 friends. So they are all together 55 of them. They heard his teachings and became enlightened. So 5 plus 55 becomes 60. Right? So when he has his first 60 arahants, he told his monks, okay, go forth, O bhikkhus, for the good of the many, for the happiness of the many, out of compassion for the world, for the good, benefit, and happiness of gods and men. Let not two go in one way. So everyone go in different directions. So preach the Dhamma, excellent in the beginning, excellent in the middle, excellent in the end, both in spirit and letter. Proclaim the holy life, altogether perfect and pure. So these are the first missioners sent out by the Buddha in different directions to teach the Dhamma. That's how we get the Dhamma today. Okay, without these missioners, you will not have the Dhamma today. So in the early days, the Dhamma is actually, okay, Dhamma actually means truth or reality or universal law. Right? The Buddha did not invent the Dhamma. The Buddha discovered the Dhamma. Okay? Just like Isaac Newton. Okay? Isaac Newton discovered gravity. He did not invent gravity. Gravity is already there. Whether Isaac Newton is around or not, there is still gravity. If you don't believe, you go upstairs and jump down and see whether you fall down. Okay? So the Dhamma is already existing even without a Buddha. Okay? But you need a Buddha to arise to discover the Dhamma. So after the Dhamma was discovered, and Buddha teach the Dhamma to the people, then after that he passed away. Okay? And after he passed away, before he passed away, actually Ananda asked the Buddha, okay, who shall succeed the Buddha? Okay? Because they have a group of monks, you see. So you need a leader. So the Buddha said, no, there's no one going to succeed him. Your teacher will be the Dhamma. Okay? So the teaching that is left behind by the Buddha, okay, becomes the teacher. Okay? So even though the Buddha is not with us physically, right, we still have the Dhamma as our teacher. That's why the Dhamma is so important. And how was the Dhamma preserved? Now, actually, even 3 months after the Buddha passed away, there was disagreement among the monks. Right? Some of them are not enlightened yet, so they still have their own views about things. Okay? So they couldn't agree, you know. Or the Buddha didn't teach this, the Buddha teach this. Okay? So they start arguing. And because of that, Venerable Kassapa, who is already an Arahant, he got together 500 Arahants to meet. Okay? It's called the First Council, and recite the teachings of the Buddha. Because those days there was no recording, there was no writings. Okay? So everything is through oral tradition. So everybody come together and recite. So if 499 monks recite the same thing and one monk recite different thing, then he's out lah. Okay, this is not what the Buddha taught. Okay? So you go by majority. And luckily you got Ananda. Okay? Ananda got a photographic memory. He can remember a lot of things. And before Ananda agreed to be the attendant of the Buddha, personal attendant of the Buddha, he gave the Buddha one condition, that when he teaches to any congregation, and if he's not around, the Buddha has to repeat the teachings to him, so that he can preserve the teaching. So luckily we got Venerable Ananda. So throughout the many years, Buddhism still spread through oral tradition, and there was another council 100 years later, and the third council 236 years later. The third council was under the patronage of King Asoka. Okay? King Asoka was a very great king. He, after he became a Buddhist, okay, he stopped going to war. Okay? There was there were peace in the country, and he encouraged people to practice Buddhism. And he even sent his own son to Sri Lanka to spread the Dhamma. And that's how Buddhism spread to Sri Lanka and later to Burma and to Thailand. Okay? So it was only put in writing in 80 BC. Okay, now I still have time. Okay, let's look at the virtues of the Dhamma. Okay? Since the Dhamma is so important, it's our teacher. Okay? Now the Dhamma is our teacher. The Dhamma is, this morning you chanted, right, on page 4. Tvakato Bhagavata Dhammo, Sanditiko Akaliko, Ehipasiko, Opanayiko, Pachatang, Veditabo Vinuhiti. So there's 6 qualities there altogether. And it's important for us to understand what these qualities are. Otherwise it becomes a ritual. You can memorize. I know you can even chant without the book. Because we have been doing the 80 episodes chanting every now and then. But it's important for us to know the meaning, when we chant. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo means discovered and well proclaimed. So the Dhamma is discovered by the Buddha, not invented by the Buddha. Right? It's a natural law. Okay? It's actually the law of cause and effect. When the Buddha became enlightened, actually 3 things happened to him on that night. First, he could recollect his own past life. Okay? He recalled that he was born in heaven, even as animals, and also in hell realm. Okay? Now all this is because of causes and condition. Okay? Whatever things that he has done, if it's good, it will propel him to the heavenly realm. If it's unwholesome, it will propel him to the hell realm, or even to the animal realm. Okay? So that's what happened during the first watch. Then the second thing that happened is he was able to recollect the past life of other beings. So he wants to recollect your past life, he can. He just zoom into you. And then he was able to see the causes and condition of things. Okay? That's the law of karma. The third thing that happened is he eradicated all defilements and understood the Four Noble Truths. He knows why people are born, why people suffer, why there's old age, sickness and death. The causes and condition of it. Okay? So what the Buddha discovered is actually a natural law of cause and effect. Right? All the suttas tell you the same thing. The Mangala Sutta, what does the Mangala Sutta tell you? If you follow this, what the Buddha has advised, you get the blessings. Then the discourse of downfall, the Parabhava Sutta, if you do certain things, it will lead you to downfall. Right? If you keep the precepts, okay, you will be safe. Okay, your life will be peaceful. You won't be blamed all this. If you don't keep the precept, then the consequences of not keeping the precept will come to you. So all the suttas talk about cause and effect only. Okay? So everything that we do, okay, is related to karma. So it's discovered and well proclaimed. Okay? The Buddha can expound the law of karma, okay, in a way that suits the temperament of the people he teach. So there's also no contradiction in what he teach. Okay, it doesn't mean that he teach to one group of people one thing, and another group of people a different thing. Okay, they are all the same. Okay? Of course, nowadays you have the sutta translation, and some people they do research, see whether each sutta contradicts the other sutta or not. Okay? There are people who do that. Okay? But even they do that, they can't find a lot of contradiction. Right? But sometimes it can happen because of translation. Right? The words used in translating the sutta can have different meaning. So people will interpret differently. So again, the Buddha said, don't rely on even on the text. Okay? Rely on your own practice. If you can experience what you practice, then that's a truth. Right? It doesn't change. Right? Not on what is written. Okay? So the books that you actually read, you must be very careful. They are all secondary knowledge. Okay? Every author have different experience in their practice. So what they experience may not be what you experience. So you test it for yourself. So the Buddha always say, you must test the Dhamma like you're testing gold. Okay? How they test gold? They melt the metal. If somebody give you a metal, a piece of thing that is golden color, it doesn't mean it's gold. Right? So you got to test it, you got to melt it, then you look at the temperature it melt. Then you compare with your periodic table. What is the melting temperature of gold? If it matches, then it is gold. So you got to test what you hear. Sanditiko, if well practiced, the benefit will be visible here and now. So everything that you experience, it is here and now. So when you practice meditation, you use your breath as an object of meditation. Why do you use your breath? Because your breath is always here and now. You cannot experience a breath that is past. Neither can you experience a breath that is in the future. Am I right? When you breathe in, it's always the present breath. When you breathe out, it's always a present breath. There's no such thing as breathe a past breath or a future breath. Right? So it's apparent here and now. Okay? It allows your mind to stay in the present. So the Dhamma is also in the present. The Buddha said, what is past, it's gone, you cannot change. Right? What is in the future, you can plan, but it's uncertain. It may not turn out the way you plan it. But what is present is real. Okay? And even the future is experienced in the present. Okay? You can plan something. It happens in the present. It does not happen in the future. So the Dhamma is in the present. It is apparent here and now. So this is one important quality that we must always remember. Right? If your mind there's a lot of fear or worry in your mind, then come back to your breathing. Okay? Your breathing, when you come back to your breathing, you bring yourself back to the present. Fear and worry are always in the past and future. You worry about the past, you worry about the future. Right? You also fear about the future. Right? A lot of things is future one. Future one. We always live in the future. We always think that, we don't have enough, we don't have this, that. All these are future. We are all futuristic people. Okay, the third quality is akaliko, timelessness. That means it doesn't change with time. What the Buddha teach 2,600 years ago is still applicable today. And timeless can also mean that the past, present, and future are the same. Right? It's the same. Right? I think that's one thing. Let go of the past, let go of the future. Let go of the present. So this is very deep. So you have to let go of the past, present, and future. All in one. They're all in one. Past, present, and future are the same. The fourth quality is ehipassiko, come and see. Okay, the Buddha always invite his followers to come and see. That means not to come and believe. Right? That means there's no such thing as absolute. So you have to come and see, and means you practice for yourself and find that if it's good, then you accept it. Okay, even there was one occasion where the Buddha taught, and Sariputta was there listening to the Dhamma when the Buddha taught him. And after the talk, the Buddha asked Venerable Sariputta, "Do you believe what I say?" Sariputta said, "No, I don't believe." He said, "I have to go back and contemplate on it and try it out. If it's good, then I believe." Right? So even his chief disciple will tell his teacher, that the moment he hear the Buddha, it doesn't mean that you have to accept. Right? You have to try it out first. So the Buddha invite the people to come and question, and clear their doubts on this. Now, during the Buddha's time, there were a lot of these Brahmins, The Brahmins are the higher class people, and they are quite educated. And many of them like to challenge the Buddha because they don't like the Buddha. Because the Brahmins, they are high class, whereas the Buddha treat everybody as equal. Even you are the Sudras or what, you can join the monkhood. Okay? When you join the monkhood, you go by vasa, the seniority, go by how many years you're a monk. So if you're a Brahmin, even though you're a Brahmin, you're a junior monk, you line up at the back. The Sudras will be in front. So the Brahmins don't like him because they still prefer the caste system. So the Brahmins like to question him. Okay? But the Buddha never get angry. He'll challenge them to a debate. In the end, most of the Brahmins, they agree with what the Buddha teach. So, in a way, we will say that Buddhism is very liberal in that sense. Okay? But a lot of skeptics will not accept Buddhism because they are so ingrained in their own views. And opanayiko, it leads inwards. Okay? When you practice the Dhamma, it lets you see what is inside you. Now, most of the time, we live with our senses. We like to see things outside. The eyes like to see things outside. The nose want to smell something outside. Ears want to listen to something outside. Okay? Even the taste. Right? Some people will travel very far just for certain type of food. Okay? So we're always going outside. But you forgot about your home cooked food, which is more healthy. Okay. So when you practice the Dhamma, when you practice meditation, you're actually seeing what is inside you. Okay. You're watching the body, you're watching the mind. Okay. And there's a lot of things to watch. Right? Some people say, in meditation, you don't think of anything. Yes, you don't think of anything, yes. But you're always with something. You're always with an object. Okay? Whether it's your body or your mental object. Okay? Your body will, for the body is usually the breath. The breath is the best object to place your attention on. Then, now, even though you want to place your attention on the breath, you find that the mind don't want to stay there. The mind always look for something more exciting. Okay? Especially your handphone. You think, maybe got message coming, all this. Okay. So there's always a lot of thoughts, a lot of things that comes in. Okay. So when you watch your body, you're actually bringing your mind to the home, which is your body. Because what your body experiences are always in the present. What you see is always in the present. What you smell is always in the present. What you hear is always in the present. Okay? You cannot see something that is not in front of you. You cannot hear something that is not here. Of course, some of you may say that, sometimes I can hear music while I'm alone, especially your favorite music. But those are not present moment objects. Those are mental objects. Okay? Those are memories. Those are not present. So what you can taste, what you can touch are all present moment objects. So if you bring your awareness to the body, you're always in the present moment. You're always here and now. So in the practice of meditation, we try to do that. Bring the mind home. Not outside, bring the mind home. Always bring the mind back to your body. Whatever sensations your body can feel, can experience, then you can keep the mind still and steady. And you sit longer, you become focused and composed. And even you can sit even longer, your mind becomes clear, serene, calm. But of course, there are still mental states, that come and go. Okay? So you use mindfulness to always come back to the body, So this is how we train the mind. So all these are actually, the qualities are there when we practice. The qualities of the Dhamma. Investigation, come and see, okay? Reading inwards, watching the mind and the body, and using the Dhamma, okay, in our practice. Then the last one, Pacchattam Veditavo Vinuhiti, comprehend individually by the wise. You need a certain degree of wisdom to understand the Dhamma. And this wisdom arises when you practice meditation. Okay? When your mind becomes clear, serene, then you can absorb things better. Okay? You can see things clearly. You find that when your mind is full of thoughts, a lot of things you listen doesn't come in. Because it's not ready to receive, it's not empty. Right? But if you are calm and peaceful, okay, then you can receive a lot of things. Right? So you need certain level of wisdom, certain right view, to understand the Dhamma. Okay? Not everybody appreciates the Dhamma. Right? Some people, you tell them the Dhamma, even there's life after death, they don't believe because they can't see it. Right? But if you look at causes and conditions, okay, then you can actually infer certain things, that there is birth and death. For example, I think all of you are quite rich, but not all of you are born rich, okay? So, why are people born? Some are rich, some are not rich when they are born. It's because of their karma, right? It cannot be created by somebody, right? So, it's because of karma. Some are born ugly, some are born beautiful, some are born tall, some are short. And of course, we always blame people, right? Why we are short, why we are tall. But you're born like that because of your previous karma. Right? So, we have to understand all these things through knowledge and through wisdom. Okay, so the essence of the Dhamma is very simple. It is, you do good, avoid evil, and purify the mind. The spirit of Dhamma is to do good, develop the enlightened mind, and wish to do good for others, and to have compassion to all beings. All the wandering in samsara is because of negative thoughts enlightened mind has love and compassion, just like the Buddha. The Dharma is always based and proceed towards enlightenment. Okay, it's based on the Buddha's enlightenment, and because the Buddha only preached from experience, not theory. The practice that gives us the protection is the practice that gives us the protection. The real refuge is put into practice and realized. They are refuge to be sought within and not exterior manifestation. So at the end of the day, the triple gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, are all within us. The whole of the teaching is one mass of flexible methods appropriate generally for different time, places, and most important, for different temperament of person. So even different people, they have different temperament. There are ways of overcoming, okay, certain defilements. Okay? And of course, after listening, you have to put in the energy and effort to practice. And one of the practice is the 4 Brahma Viharas. And finally, to be Dhamma-inspired, okay, you have to study, keep on studying the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, and realize the Dhamma. And of course, after all this practice, what is your aspiration? Hopefully to be enlightened. If you're not enlightened, never mind, attain to one of the stages, 4 stages of sainthood. Okay? But even if you don't become a Sotapanna, you must ensure that you are reborn as a human again, or as a Deva, okay? And guided by the triple gem until your final liberation. Okay? So these are some of the aspirations you can make for yourself when you practice the Dhamma.